Let's talk today about the harsh realities of your journey. Some of the negative things that people attribute to me saying or talk about me saying come from a difference in the way we think. I am a glass half empty person. So this glass is half empty. Some people are naturally glass half full people. So their very view of life is colored by the belief that ultimately justice will win out. The problem is that's not always true. It is the case that things will not always go well, and I wanted to take a few minutes today to go over some ways that has happened with me and explain how it happens with you. A lot of this, by the way, this video was spurred by my keto craziness video that got so much hate, which I found hysterical because I never actually condemned keto. I just was addressing the craziness of it. But there were several things that I said there that people took issue with. What did I mean by the body was stupid? This goes exactly with what we're talking about. The body is stupid in that it very often will let you down mid-journey. I just met a girl the other day who has lupus at the age of 20 and she's on dialysis. Now, how did that happen when someone is 20 and has no family history of the disease? How does it happen that a child, a daughter of a girl I work with, ended up as needing insulin, an insulin pump at 2 years old? How does that happen? How does your body target your own cells and start attacking them? How does an intelligently designed body do a thing like that? How does a creator, if one exists, set up a system where one creature preys on another and eats it for nourishment? How and why would those things happen? Well, I'm at peace with answering that question. I don't believe that we can explain the universe through intelligent causes. So everything we know about our bodies and about life and about space and about time, all of those things are part of the harsh realities. And this video is just a realization of that. Some of you are coming from things from a bowl of cherries perspective. You think that if you take care of your body, you're going to have long years on this earth. That may be the case, but it also may not be the case. I went to my doctor. I have known for about a year now, but I wanted to confirm it on blood tests. I was diagnosed with Hashimotos thyroiditis. And what led me to that was I was getting very cold, colder than I was going back the last several years of the weight loss journey. But at 41, going into 42, was actually when my TSH levels been getting higher. And so I went and had it confirmed with 3 different doctors to make sure that the assessment was accurate, and it is. So I'm not taking anything. I've chosen not to. I'm simply using supplements, which I'll talk about at another time. But my experience there was something that was not at all a surprise to me because my mother, at my age, got the same condition. Her mother, at our age, got the same condition. My mother's brother, at the same age, got the same condition. It is as though there is a genetic link, and now that my brother's approaching my age, he's going to have the same thing happen. Turns out it goes back 6 generations at exactly this age, at my age at the time, 41. So I've looked at that, and it brings you back to what I have known for a number of years, and what some of you need to learn is that you cannot beat everything. You might do everything right and die of lung cancer even though you've never smoked a single cigarette. You may pray and fast and live an honest, good life and have a child that is born with spina bifida or caudal regression syndrome. You might go through life and for everything you have done to try to treat your health or any of the major horrible conditions that come our way as a human species, that you fail regardless. And that is something that some of you don't want to learn because it's not in your hard wiring. It is in your hard wiring to believe that ultimately that's going to happen to somebody else but not you. Well, it isn't. That's not the case. So when I say that the body is stupid, I'm talking about it from that perspective. I'm talking about the fact that Granny has lived too long. That's why she needs dentures, because we were meant to die at around 20 to 40. Actually, my age now, I'm at the kickoff point where after about 10 more years, evolution says my body and my contribution should not be enough. That is a very humbling thing to realize and to think about, because your evolution decides you're no longer a player. You're no longer worth the trouble of being kept around. What do we do with that knowledge? The same thing I've told you to do. You accept what you cannot do and move on. I talk to a lot of diabetic people and have people with different problems, and their struggle will be different than my struggle because I don't have that condition. Even though I have all of the markers for type 1 diabetes. I have a GAD65 antibody number that is off the charts, which tells me, my doctor says, if I live long enough, I will become an insulin-dependent type 1 diabetic like so many in my family. But right now, thankfully, my A1C is holding at a 5.2. I have no signs of issues. But of course, that's the real crux of this issue. We don't have the assurance that tomorrow is going to be any better than today. We don't have any more assurance that life will turn around and be better. Sometimes you get a new job and a new career, and all of a sudden you get sick and you end up having to go on family medical leave, and then you end up having to resign or being forced to resign because you can't continue your work. Some people have I don't need to elaborate, you get the idea of where I'm going. So my point is, not to elicit sympathy, my point is the exact opposite. When I say that the body is stupid, that's exactly what I mean. I mean life is stupid in the sense that it will always let you down. It will give you little bits of keep going, little bits of happy, little bits of accomplishments, because if every bad thing happened instantly, you would off yourself. You'd find a tall building and you'd just take a header straight off. But that's not the way causality is. That's not the way life is. So all of you have to understand that when you're facing your own journey, the negative is always there. The dark side is always there. I do most of my capacity to lead and to exert value to others or influence on others comes from my dark side, comes from my negative side. And if you can't, some people you're not that way. But if you are that way, then you can understand where I'm coming from, hopefully at least a little. So what do you do when the odds are against you? What do you do? It's a decision you make. You keep going until the car breaks. And I'm quoting the words there of someone in my past who was wiser than I ever gave credit for, who used to say, keep that old car until you can afford another one. You keep that old car and you drive it until it breaks. That is one of the most satisfying philosophies, because when you make peace with the fact that you don't have guarantee of tomorrow, you don't have necessarily any hope for today, you only have the happiness and the satisfaction that you have now, which I have a lot of and I'm thankful for. But there is no guarantee. That's the harsh reality, folks. That same harsh reality means what I said in my video about bullying. I didn't say that bullies are brave. I said that bullies are strong in comparison to their obviously weaker counterparts who are being picked on. There is a difference. Everything in life is a comparison of too much or not enough. So rather than getting depressed about our fate, about the fact that we have no assurance, we have no guarantees, that's the reason to get more excited. Because unlike Captain America, who in any of these Avenger movies is jumping off heights that no human could survive. And that's the thing that amazes me so much, is that Captain America never has knee trouble. Achilles never has joint trouble. None of this stuff ever happens. Nobody ever shows how they're going to fall and splat their heads open and taking crazy jumps and dives out of airplanes and stuff. But it's the fact that we can die that makes our accomplishments much more valuable. Because unlike the fictitious world, the world of the gods and goddesses and super beings that we use to strive toward, we are the real people here on earth who are doing things without all of those abilities. And of course, as it says in the scriptures, strength is made perfect in weakness. So it's the opposite of having superpowers that gives us what little what few superpowers we actually have. We have the fact that we are able to do what we can do, like losing weight, like bettering ourselves, like learning to quit drugs and to take control of ourselves. Those are the things that real people do. We can do those against all odds. So instead of this being something we should get depressed about, it's something we should get excited about. And life is full of examples of people who were born without arms, without legs, without sight, without hearing, had all sorts of difficulties, and made the best leaps and strides toward human betterment than any of us could know. So the message here is not to give up. The message here is to succeed despite all the odds. And when it's time to fail, you fail, and you have given it the best run that you have given it. And everybody else around you will remember that and remember your strength.